Hi everybody. So I am going to be talking about 3-year-old preschool today. That was one of the things that a couple of people asked about on my Facebook page. And so I'm just gonna tell you what I've been doing, what I've read about what experts do, and what I mean by experts are actually I read a lot of information that's released by preschool teachers and researchers, but I also, of course, read a lot by experienced homeschool moms. So I'll tell you what I plan on doing, what I found out from reading from those sources, and hopefully it's helpful. So in my last video, I talked about unpacking our school supplies and curriculum, and I talked about having Jack start a preschool program and unloading his worksheets and books. Well, when I started getting out the worksheets, I looked at him and I just thought, maybe we could push through them and be okay, but he's not gonna get much out of them this year. And if I save them for next year, he'd really benefit from them. So for this year, I have decided he's going to be 4 in March. So the school year where he'll be 3 most of the year. I'm not going to do a formal curriculum. And actually that's very, very common among homeschoolers. And a lot of the experienced homeschool moms will tell you, you don't need a formal 3-year-old curriculum. So my plan is, when I do morning time with the older kids, to add some nursery rhymes to our morning time. I think it would be good for the other kids to have some of those memorized. And I've actually already worked on Jack memorizing a couple nursery rhymes. So other common preschool songs would be a great thing to work on daily. And of course we read a lot of picture books to him, definitely every night, but then also during morning time and school time, we try to fit in some picture books. A lot of times when the girls are working on their sit-down school, Jack will sit and play with clay or Play-Doh, or cut up a piece of paper, or color some pictures. All of that is really appropriate preschool behavior, and really good for motor skills, which is definitely one of the things that preschool teachers are working on teaching. So that's some things we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue playing outside as much as I can convince him to. That's a ton of science, a ton of large motor skills, such an important thing. He does know colors really well, so we just need to keep reviewing those. He is starting to count pretty well. He is starting to say his letters a little bit. We probably need to amp up saying letters and saying shapes. But I'm just going to say here, especially for young kids, preschool up through the elementary, if you start teaching something and they don't just get it, it doesn't just click, back off for a couple months and come at it again later, because most of the time it's just not wise to fight through that. Wait until developmentally they're ready to accept what you're trying to teach and get it. So, I'll kind of keep that in mind as I'm starting to work on letters and shapes. If he's not showing an interest, if he's not grasping it, I'll just put it off a few months. I think that's a good idea. Anything you're teaching up through elementary, if the kids are starting to struggle, just see what a couple months does, and see if their cognitive development catches up. Then I was just going to kind of talk, like, if you were going to separate some of these skills out into subjects to make sure you're covering every subject with your preschooler, I would say things you can do for math that's really important for a preschooler is to let them play with a lot of different sized cups. That builds that spatial intelligence in their mind. How much space do these beans, or does this rice, or does this water, or whatever you're having them scoop, how much space does it take up really? And if I pour it from this tall skinny cup to this short fat cup, what happens? And all of those things need to be built up and developed. And again, it might just be a cognitive thing that someday it clicks and they get it. But that's one important math skill you can work on with your kids, is just give them a few cups of beans and let them pour them back and forth and pour them out. And of course you can always, when you're feeding them lunch, say, I'm going to give you 2 carrots, and I'm going to give you 2 more carrots. Now you have 4 carrots, and easy. You're building some pre-addition skills. Or say, you had 5 grapes, and now there's only 3. You must have eaten 2. Did you eat 2? There's subtraction, okay? So it doesn't have to be formal or planned out. You sit down, something that you should keep in mind all day long. I'm teaching my kid preschool all day long through everything we're doing. Some pre-language arts and reading skills that's really good to do with preschoolers is rhyming. I had a few years ago babysat a little girl who was 3, and Clara was 3 at that time. And I found these cards on the internet. If I could find the link again, I would share them. You might have to do some searching yourself. But they had one big picture, then they had 3 little pictures. And you just pick the little picture that rhymed with the big picture. So say the big picture was of a shell. Then one of the little pictures might be of a bell. And those 3-year-old girls loved getting out those cards. And they were so good at picking out what word rhymed. And that's a really good pre-reading skill. And of course you can work on letters. Again, I'm not sure how much the 3-year-olds, so there's just a wide variety of 3-year-olds. Like, some of them are going to get that symbol represents A and take it and run. And other kids are gonna go, I don't know, she keeps showing me these weird symbols. I have no idea, I'm not interested. So if your kid is not catching on to the names of the letters, you can skip it. I even heard one speaker say, and she had written her own reading curriculum that I like, actually, that the names of the letters are kind of not important right off the bat for reading. What's important is the sounds of the letters. So there's just another idea, another way to go about things. You could skip over the names of the letters altogether and go straight to sounds. It's a possible, something you can do. So kind of makes sense. Let's see, then fine motor skills, like I said, are really important to learn during preschool. I've read this in a lot of articles about preschool and kindergarten readiness. Make sure they know how to hold scissors with their elbow tucked in and like they're shaking somebody's hand with their thumb up. Okay? Teach them that. Teach them that you move the paper and not the scissors. Coloring. I keep colors, markers, crayons, colored pencils, paints, and paper out on my kitchen table almost all the time. Play-Doh, how to use tongs, all of those things are building those finger dexterity muscles, which is going to make writing easier when they get old enough to do that. And then, of course, keep practicing their social skills and manners. Make sure before you hand them that cookie that they want that they've asked, may I please have a cookie? And that teaches them good social skills and good manners, and teach them how to work through fights with their siblings, how to say, I would like that toy when you are done with it, and then teach them to wait. Things like that. They need to learn how to get along with other people. And I think when you're in a homeschool setting and you're kind of more one-on-one, or even 1-on-4 like I am, you have a better chance of really, I have a baby sitting outside my door crying, yes I do. You have a better chance of really noticing their social interactions and having a chance to give them the right words to say. You don't want to solve their problems for them. You don't want to jump in on every fight and solve their problems for them. But they're little kids and they don't know which words to say. So that's an important thing to work on in preschool too. Anyway, so that's my preschool plan for 3-year-old Jack. And I hope it helps you. Bye.